Hey, what's up, y'all? So now for the video that is more difficult to make than the last one. So essentially, the gist of this video is that I lied to a lot of you guys, and I want to apologize. Now, I do not expect any forgiveness. I do not expect anything. Really, the only reason I'm making this video is because I believe it's important to tell the truth, especially because, yeah, this is an initiation of sorts for me. So I'll tell you what I lied about. So when I started this channel in 2020, I would sometimes do reactions to artists that I had heard before. Now, most of what I would say would be white lies, but in my opinion, a lie is a lie. And so, yeah, I would, some examples are Fleetwood Mac, Peter Gabriel, Kate Bush, Linkin Park, and Evanescence. Those are the ones that come to mind. So, with a lot of these artists, I would state that I had heard them before, but not for a long time. Now, that's mostly true, but some of those artists, like for example, Linkin Park, I had heard as recent as like probably 2018 when Chester died. It was more the newer records. But yeah, I would just essentially tell white lies. Or I would mention that my dad was big into, I don't know, Peter Gabriel, Kate Bush growing up. And I would mention that, but I think I just wish I was more honest. Yeah, that's fundamentally it. I just wish I was more honest. Yeah. It kept me up for a long time. Haunted me for a while. And then in 2022, right around, I think it was about September, I remember telling myself, I can't keep doing this. At the time, I didn't have the strength to come clean about any of it. But I did make a statement to myself, I think this was September, that from now on, I would be honest about all things I'd listened to. It would have been after the Linkin Park Meteora album review. Because I'd heard that record before when I was a kid. I never listened to the whole thing before, but I knew a lot of those songs. I'd have to go back and see what I actually said. I think I did say I'd heard this, and this was a way that I would lie. Is I wouldn't lie, but I would omit the full truth. So I'd say something like, "Hey, I heard this when I was a kid," failing to mention that I had also heard it when Chester died. Or Evanescence, let's say. I had heard My Immortal before. I didn't listen to it on repeat. It wasn't really a song I put on ever, but I'd heard that song before. Same with Bring Me to Life, that kind of thing. And then when I was in high school, I was really into Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush. So I'd heard those songs, hadn't heard them for years, but I heard them in high school, and I made it sound like I had only heard it growing up with my dad. And so that's it. I just wanted to share this with you. Because like what really, when it really hit me was when I remember someone said, they're like, in the My Immortal reaction, someone made a comment like, there's no way this guy has never heard this song. And then I forget who it was. It was one of my moderators in my Discord community, but they responded, "You're wrong, because Anton would never do that. I know him very well, and he is very honest." That crushed me, because it's not true. I've always wanted to be honest, but I could not have said at that time that I was honest, because I wasn't being honest. Yeah. So that was kind of the wake-up call, that like, okay, I gotta stop lying. You know, even if these are white lies, if these are lies by omission, lies are lies. And yeah, and so from that moment forward, I started telling the truth, and doing the best to tell the truth and only the truth. I actually have to go through, and I think, yeah, and since then, now it's like radical truth, like just no white lies, no lies of omission, because I want my word to mean something. I want my actions to mean something. I want to be able to believe in myself, you know, and I want to feel empowered, you know. I'm in the process of empowering myself, and part of that is I can't be lying and hiding things in any place in my life, because because then the thing is, if I'm lying, I can't make any declarations involving integrity or authenticity or truth or honesty. How can I possibly ever say anything with confidence that I believe in any greater ideal, knowing I'm failing that very ideal in this exact moment? And I just realized how weak I felt and how I didn't respect myself. Where it was like kind of Jekyll and Hyde. It was like, on one hand, I loved myself and I thought I was doing a lot of good work. And then there's equally on the other side of the table, yeah, all of the ways in which I wasn't living up to my own ideals, or the ideals that I wanted to embody. Yeah, so I knew I was going to make this video for a while. I was going to do it when I started my podcast back up, but now that I'm starting my reaction channel back up, and this is mostly about my reactions, yeah, I'm making it now. And also, what I've done is I've taken down all reactions that I had heard at any real phase of my life. So if I had heard something and I was familiar with it when I was 8 years old, I've taken it down. So like One by U2, I took that video down because I realized, as much as I didn't listen to it recently, I knew that song when I was a kid because my dad liked that song. And so, yeah, I was too familiar with it. And when I made the video, I think I mentioned I had heard it before. But again, I failed to mention that I was familiar with that song when I was a kid. Yeah, I've kept the full album reactions up just because I think that's like a different thing. Um, but yeah, and to be honest, I'm I don't know if I'd say I'm embarrassed by this. I did feel a lot of shame about it. I've forgiven myself. Um, Partially, I'm a little bit afraid of the reaction, and I'm mostly afraid of the people that believed in me no longer believing in me, abandoning me. From my abandonment trauma when I was a kid. Um, Partially afraid of that. Um, but again, I the people that choose to forgive me are the people I want in my life and the people I want in my community. And if you don't choose to forgive me, that's okay too. Doesn't make you a better or worse person. It's just cool because I think fundamentally the people that forgive me for this will be people that I think instinctively know who I am and who I've always wanted to be and who I've failed at being thus far. Yeah, just honest. Yeah, I've failed at living up to my own ideal. And now I will do everything I can to maintain and live up to my own ideal. Does that mean that I will never lie again? Likely not, because I'm human. And I think if we're all honest, most of us have probably lied in the last year. Most of us will likely lie in the future. And the people that will never lie again are the wise masters that people cross continents to meet and learn from. I'd like to be one of those people one day, but I'm not that person right now. But yeah, I'm gonna do my best never to lie again. But I know that as long as I have fears, I will lie. Because all lies are born from fear. The fear that if I am honest, I'll not be accepted. If I am honest, I'll not be loved. If I am honest, I will lose an opportunity. If I am honest, I will lose my career. Because that was why I lied on this channel. And also, I have a history of lying going back to grade 2. Because when I was in grade 2, growing up, I was expelled twice, suspended upwards of probably 25 times. And then in grade 2, I had a particular teacher, and this is where all this started. And she didn't like me. And so she would tell my parents every day whether I was a good boy or a bad boy that day. And the result of me being a bad boy with my father was violent. I'm not going to go too much into it. It was absolutely emotionally violent, and sometimes, yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. But that's when I learned how to lie. That's when I learned to lie as a survival response. So I would rewrite what she wrote to my parents, draw a smiley face every day so that I wasn't impacted by my home life, as a way to survive that time in my life. And then that just resulted in the liar being born. And then that became my adaptive strategy for surviving all aspects of fear in my life. If I was afraid of running out of money, I've stolen before. I don't do that anymore, and I don't even lie anymore. When was the last time I lied? Honestly, I don't likely. I think the last time I lied would have been, I think, on the reaction channel when it was still up. Probably, I'm assuming, a white lie or a lie of omission, likely, let's just say December of 2022. And I'm not exaggerating. I don't think I've lied or told any lies of omission or anything, because this has become, this literally kept me up at night. Partially afraid of people just figuring it out and then losing everything. And then also just, it's when it's the elephants in the room. How can you relate to people, and how can you be as vulnerable and as open as you want to be with people? How can you love people the way you want to when you are constantly navigating every conversation so that nobody ever stumbles upon the thing that you're trying to hide? It's exhausting. And then you have to create revisionist history. You have to create a Bible of sorts, a historical record of the thing that you share with the world, and then you start to rewrite your own memories. And then I started noticing this could be very dangerous, because I will start to become fractured my own psyche. I'll start to remember the past wrong based on the historical record that I've told people. Yeah. And I'm still in the process of fully forgiving myself for this. Yeah. You know, because there's a freedom to authenticity and integrity. There's a freedom to self-expression, and there's an emotional space that opens up when you don't have to hide anything, when you don't have to play fucking chess in every conversation. Now, obviously, this didn't happen in most of my life, but any conversation with my reaction channel, I was always, yeah, you're playing chess. Fundamentally, you're playing chess in every conversation. And it's just, yeah. And because of this, at the same time, if like I'm more, I wouldn't say I'm more lenient when other people lie now, but I get it. I understand why you're lying, because you're likely there was abandonment or betrayal early in your life that stemmed from you telling the truth. And none of our parents are perfect, so this always happens. Maybe you tell the truth and your friend abandons you. Maybe you tell the truth and your girlfriend or your boyfriend leaves you. Maybe you tell the truth. Maybe you have some secret, and believe me, there's secrets in my family. Grandfather was a child molester. Yeah, so my cousin committed suicide. He was part of that lineage. He didn't do any of that kind of stuff, but just, I think he was psychically affected by his parents, because of what my grandfather did to his mother. Yeah, I don't even know how I got onto that, but yeah, I just feel like pretty much everybody has skeletons in the closet, everybody has demons, and everybody has trauma. And I think it is an unfair expectation. And again, I'm holding myself to a different bar than I would hold other people to. And I think this is also just my inner critic, and just my own shame and feeling like I have to be perfect to be worthy of love, and acceptance. Yeah, and also, if anybody, I don't know, who knows, maybe I meet my future wife and she sees this video, I would want her to know everything about me and everything I've done. And then if she still has the ability to accept me and love me after, then I know, wow, okay, I can be authentic with you, But fundamentally, yeah, I hold myself to a higher standard than I hold other people to. And I know I'm more compassionate with other people than I am with myself. But yeah, if people lie, I know why. And that's why, will I spend a lot of time around people that lie a lot? No. Just because I don't resonate with people that lie a lot, likely. I don't think any of my friends lie a lot. But if someone ever, I don't know, came to me for help and they're like, hey, this is who I am and I've done all these things, because of me forgiving myself, I can go, yeah, like I get it, like no, and also nobody wants to lie unless you're a psychopath. Like nobody really wants to lie. They get caught up in these webs that they can't get out of because you tell one lie, so you have to create another lie to compensate for that lie, and next thing you know, you're in a web of lies. And again, this is where the revisionist history kicks in. Is you're just navigating these webs of lies. And at least now I'm like, cool, I'm going to get this all out so I can just move on with my life at like step one, And again, the people that love me and forgive me, I'm very grateful for. I don't need forgiveness. I don't expect forgiveness. But those that do choose to forgive, those are people that I want in my life. People that just get, yeah, people make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Yeah. And it's just funny that most of the people that don't forgive you are people that do the very thing that you've done. And usually the reason why they don't forgive you is because they hate themselves so much for the very same thing. And if they can't forgive themselves, they can't forgive you. So I'm not going to make any moral statements or ethical statements about what is better or what is worse. But I know that the people that don't forgive others for mistakes are people that don't forgive themselves for mistakes. And the people that forgive others forgive themselves. And it's the whole thing. Forgive, don't forget. And I don't expect anyone to forget anything I've done. So, and I wouldn't want any of you to either. Hold me accountable. I'm holding myself accountable, but also like now I see this community as closer and more honest. And the more I forgive myself and less shame I have for my actions and my past, the more I can create a safe space for all of you who want to be part of it to be able to share your trauma, your demons, and your skeletons too. Because if everyone that's like, what this video is essentially going to do is it's going to weed out all of the people that would make a space unsafe. So now the only people that are left are people that have forgiven me and therefore can forgive other people. In my opinion, I think I have the capacity to forgive almost any behavior as long as the person is not psychopathic. And I literally mean almost any behavior. I have forgiven my grandfather. He's dead, but I've forgiven him because I know that he was also taken advantage of when he was a child. And did he know better? Very likely, yes. Did it destroy my aunt's life? Yes. Tried to kill herself twice. Got in a sexually abusive relationship that led to my cousin killing himself. So these things have impacts. But if my grandfather was still alive and he broke down to me and he said, hey, this is what I've done. I wish I never did this, and I wish I could take it back. I would love him, I would embrace him, and I would forgive him. And I would say, do you want to be better? And not even better, like, do you want to be a new person? Do you want to live a life of integrity? Because, make amendments, he would never be able, like, he's not going to bring my cousin back. He's not going to bring Sam back from the dead. Like, our actions have impacts. But in my opinion, we just live in a fucking painful world. You know, the amount of abuse and trauma we all go through. It's like, it's amazing that we can function at all. And some people do things that are arguably worse than others. But at the end of the day, I believe everyone is capable of change. I believe everyone is capable of fundamentally changing who they are. Not the core essence of who they are, but the man of it. Like, I think that if you heal your trauma, you just don't do those hurtful and painful things anymore. Yeah. So if I could help my grandfather heal, truly heal, to the point where he wouldn't have those, because I think for him, it was just, you know, when that stuff happens to you as a child, it fucks up your moral compass, man. Right and wrong, it's like, it becomes so difficult to see, and he never got help. So yeah, I do what I could to help him and see what happened. But all this is just to say that, yeah, I personally think it's important to forgive people if those people can heal. Because if you forget something and that person hasn't healed, they will likely do that same thing again. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm saying, like, forgiving somebody who is going through the work of healing themselves. Because again, once they heal themselves, they are no longer capable of doing the monstrous things they've done. Literally incapable. If they have humanity, if they're not psychopathic and they have empathy for other human beings. Because my grandfather, oddly enough, was empathetic. You know, he was, in a lot of ways, a very good man. He helped a lot of people, and he didn't do it, to my knowledge, this is what my mother tells me. He didn't do it. It was just, he just helped people. And that's the thing with trauma, is that it fractures your personality, where you're someone capable of great good and great, like, almost evil. You know, I don't like that word, but, you know, that's what trauma does. You know, it fractures your psyche to the point where you're Jekyll and Hyde in the same body. And I just want to do what I can to help people just become Jekyll. You know what I mean? The good part of their nature, the fundamentally loving, caring, compassionate part of their nature. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Again, I don't expect any reaction from any of you guys. I'm really fundamentally making this video for myself, to hold myself accountable for my actions, and hold myself accountable to the public for the rest of my life. Because if I don't make this video, I can slip back into telling lies. Or if I make this video, everyone is going to be vigilant of my behavior moving forward. And the world will keep me accountable just as much as I'm keeping myself accountable. So again, I apologize to any of you who I have hurt, especially anyone who's been betrayed before. This will impact you deeper. Anyone that's been betrayed, this will impact. Anyone who's been cheated on, this will impact. And if any of that is unhealed, that will cause likely a very intense emotional reaction to this video and to me. And anyone that had me on a pedestal will definitely be impacted. Anyone that wanted to believe in human perfection and that I could possibly be a representation of that, who had projected that onto me, this is going to shatter that, and it's going to be brutal, and you might hate me for that. And that's okay. Yeah, whatever emotional reaction this has in any of you guys, that's okay. It's important, you know, feel that reaction. And that doesn't mean that you have to forgive me after. Just forgive yourself for whatever reaction you have. Just feel it, accept it. Yeah, I'm your mirror, essentially. So yeah, yeah, a lot of people have me on a pedestal, and this will take me off of it. And I hope to be taken off of it because I don't think it's healthy for me to be on anyone's pedestal. I'm just a human being, working through my own shit, working through my own trauma, my own demons. I feel like I'm almost at the end, but I'm not there yet, but I'm close. And I'm just excited to be at a place in my life hopefully in the near future, where I fully love and accept myself in all of my flaws and imperfections. And once I love and accept myself with all of my flaws and imperfections, I don't think fear, and also I'm working through my fears, because fundamentally my fears are what cause me to abandon my integrity. And anytime I do abandon my integrity, it's always because of fear. So that's my work, is just work on my fear and work on my shame. Accept my shame, accept my fear, and transmute it so that I don't need to hurt people and cause any unneeded harm. Because just like how being betrayed by a lover is deeply damaging, being betrayed by someone you looked up to or you considered a friend, like myself with a lot of you guys, can also be damaging. And I take responsibility for that. Yeah. And at the same time, anyone that had me on a pedestal and was projecting a lot of the time your own brilliance onto me, any brilliance that you have that you deny in yourself, you will project onto me if I share the brilliance that you're hiding in yourself. So let's say you're very loving, but you had to repress your loving nature to survive your upbringing, and you have to be colder to survive, or you think you do now, even though you're an adult. You will identify with my loving nature and go, oh, Anton is incredibly loving and I'm not, therefore he's better than me. But the fact is, you're very loving and I'm the external projection of what you're hiding in yourself. And you usually know this by anything that you almost worship me for. Because this is what we do. We worship people on the internet. We worship musicians, actors, celebrities, influencers, YouTubers, podcasters. That's just what happens. This is what happens. Yeah, you are anybody that you think is a god or the best that humanity has to offer. Yes, any of those traits are likely the things that you repress in yourself. And that's why, and it's, also just our desire to believe that there is fundamental good in the world, and that we are on the search for people that we think, oh, you're my evidence of a worldview that I want to be true, that true love exists. And it does, but we're flawed and we're traumatized human beings. And there's rarely any human being in the world that gets by their entire life without becoming traumatized and having to heal that. So maybe there are people that are legitimately of authenticity, integrity, and love all the time. But I think it's incredibly rare, and I haven't found anybody that actually has that. And because I haven't found anybody who has that, I think we have to be much more forgiving of ourselves and each other. Because if we're holding everybody to an impossible ideal and everyone's constantly failing that, we have an unfair expectation of ourselves in the world. So be easy on yourself. Forgive yourself. Even if you've done something monstrous. If you have done something potentially monstrous, and it hurts you what you've done, that means you're a good person. And it just means that your trauma is going to create a feedback loop where you're going to continue to do monstrous things until you heal your trauma. So that's all I'll say. So that's it. Again, I'm totally okay with anybody reacting any way they want to, or any way they do. And I thank those of you that forgive me. Yeah. Am I thankful? I think it says more about you than me, ultimately. Yes, I want to be forgiven. Ultimately, I'm a human being. I want to be loved and accepted in my flaws and imperfections. But yeah, I'm healing that. Maybe at the core essence, all human beings, we all need that. And I think we all do, but potentially, I'm not sure. I don't know if we can get to a point where we literally don't need the acceptance. I know children need love and acceptance. There's some Holocaust stuff that happened where they did some pretty terrible tests on children by taking away physical touch and love, and they died. But as we get to human beings, I'm not sure if we can get to a place, because I'm not there yet, but I'm wondering if we can get to a place where we actually do not require the acceptance and unconditional love of those around us if we can supply that for ourselves. I think it might be possible, and I'm doing my best to get there to see if it is possible, but I don't know. So anyway, I love you guys, and all of you that have had the pleasure of getting to know on a communication basis, through the comments and stuff. I'm grateful for all of you. And yeah, I love you guys. So until next time.